Men in tactical gear enter a residence at night with weapons drawn. They murder a guy who walks into the hall and his kid when he opens the door. They keep searching for a home in the U.S. Congresswoman Hernandez, their actual target. After hearing that, she flees but is grabbed and brought away at night. Lioness Season 2 begins this way. Joe notices a news alert that Hernandez was pressing for legislation to authorize the U.S. military to fight immigrants on U.S. land. Zoe knows her quiet time with her family is finished, but she doesn't realize how nasty her position will be. Cal visits Hernandez's home to examine the issue. He discovers the congresswoman had a tracker before it was stolen, so they know she is in Mexico. The Papaya just sees her. Kaitlyn is summoned to the White House to discuss how she and Joe can help. As she leaves, her husband Nero warns her that a Mexican cartel wouldn't abduct a Papaya and to check Mexico's oil shipments. Before seeing Secretary of State Mullins and his staff at the White House, Kaitlyn meets with Brian, who refreshes her on Kyle's information. The administration wants the Nkitlands team to carry out a conspicuous, messy operation. This cannot be an official military action, since they believe the criminal group behind the kidnapping had the support of the Mexican government, which must have been pressed by China. Byron said a U.S. military intervention would undermine their capacity to punish China for invading Taiwan. In the scenario room, Joe learns her role. The administration wants lionesses for trophies, especially before presidential election conventions. Their goal is the Lost Tigers cartel chief. They want him dead and his Mexican government links. Though Joe adds that her responsibilities are to strike harsh targets. Mullins and Byron tell her to execute her job without pity. Joe and Kyle must first travel to Texas to rescue Congresswoman Hernandez with a group of freelancing warriors called Gray Men. Before leaving, she phones her husband Neil to say she loves him and their daughters. Neil realizes she must be risky. Cody, a former collaborator, joins Joe in Wren, Texas. When she quips that he's too old for this job, he says, "Beware the old soldier. He's old for a reason." They cross the Mexico border without incident. But as they stop to equip up a bunch of Mexicans, grab firearms, and rob them. Unfortunately, the Mexicans don't know who they're with and are promptly eliminated. When the crew is ready, they notice the congresswoman moving and intercept her. Joe and her squad kill all enemies and rescue Hernandez by smashing into the car. Their intended escape route is blocked by Mexican authorities, so they must find another way back to the U.S. Additionally, Mexican officials are aware of their attacks and are pursuing them. When compelled to fight Mexican soldiers, they are advised to a river. However, they must first deal with the enemy caravan. Cody stops the car and the team fires. Once done, they leave. As they approach the exit, they learn that to the river has a steep drop-off into a deep river. They might pass easily, but they would face incoming Mexican soldiers, so they must drive into the river. Unfortunately, Mexican soldiers shooting from the crest pin them down. Air assistance saves them by driving back the Mexicans. Joe and the squad may swim to the U.S. border. Hernandez asks Joe what happens next, just back on U.S. territory as they reconvene across the river. "Now we play offense," she says. The Congresswoman Hernandez requests a favor, but Papaya without her saying so. She informs the Congresswoman her crew doesn't do courtrooms, they want to murder the perpetrator. Joe apologizes to Cody for losing a team member in the automobile collision into the river. She wonders if he will finish the task. He replies no, but if it gets FK'd again, he may help. Sorry for Joe, who doesn't want to cooperate with Kyle. She punches Kyle to emphasize that he brought them into the crisis without a strategy, and nearly killed them. Kyle says it worked, they got the Congresswoman. Kyle tells Joe that they all signed up for that fee when he mentions losing a team member's freedom and that he can't do cowboy stuff with her squad if they're working together. Joe contacts Neil after handling the news but attempts to keep it from their kids, Kate and Charlie. Though Kate notices more, Joe struggles to keep back tears as she talks to her family after such an upsetting encounter, but she reassures them she's alright and loves them. After that, Joe wades into the river to regain her breath and prepare for what's next in Lioness Season 2, Episode 2, I Love My Country. The narrative explores the increasingly high-stakes nature of the Lioness team's mission, delving deeper into the emotional and operational pressures on Joe and her operatives. This episode intensifies the conflict between Joe's professional obligations as a CIA leader and the personal sacrifices she must endure along the way. It also brings to the forefront the global consequences of their actions as Joe navigates a new challenge in Iraq while contending with personal struggles back home. Mission Inter and Operational Challenges Episode 2 kicks off with the Lioness team traveling to Iraq to secure a new operative crucial for their ongoing mission. This mission underscores the theme of trust and manipulation as the CIA must rely on intricate negotiations to embed a valuable agent within a network. The tense atmosphere in Iraq adds to the pressure on Joe and her team, hinting at potential betrayals or setbacks that could compromise the mission's objectives. The situation in Iraq also serves as a backdrop for the show's larger exploration of modern warfare and espionage, with operations becoming increasingly complex and personal as the team works under dangerous conditions. Jo's role as the leader is tested both in maintaining the danger of her operatives and in making quick strategic decisions that could have far-reaching consequences. Jo's with family and identity. Meanwhile, the episode provides a closer look at Jo's personal life, which continues to unravel under the weight of her demanding profession. Her interactions with her family, particularly with her husband and daughters, are filled with tension. Jo is once again confronted with the emotional toll her work exacts as her loved ones struggle to accept the reality of her dangerous missions. The episode emphasizes Jo's inner conflict as she navigates the dual identities of being both a CIA and a mother. Her marriage is also put under strain as both Jo and her husband Neil acknowledge the growing distance between them. The emotional distance is further compounded by Jo's increasing reliance on her work to give her life, even as it threatens to alienate her from the people she loves. New threats and suspenseful developments. Episode 2 also raises the stakes by introducing new threats and complications with the pressure of the mission in Ira mounting. Jo's team faces internal and external challenges. The tension builds as the operatives prepare for potential combat while grappling with uncertainty about whether they can fully trust their allies. This sense of unease adds a layer to the episode, keeping viewers on edge as they anticipate what could go wrong next. In parallel, the absence of Cruz Manilo remains a lingering mystery as her storyline is yet to intersect with the main plot. Viewers are left speculating about how Cruz might re-enter the narrative, and what role she will play as the season and moral complexities with the premiere. Episode 2 dives into the moral dilemmas faced by Jo and her operatives. The characters must balance their loyalty to the mission with their values, forcing them to difficult choices. Jo's decisions in particular reflect the recurring theme of sacrifice, whether it involves losing operatives in the field or risking personal relationships for the sake of national security. I Love My Country sets the tone for the intense journey ahead in Lioness Season 2, blending emotional depth with the thrill of espionage with its focus on the personal and professional face of Jo and her team. The episode lays the groundwork for future twists and conflicts. The growing tension within the Lioness program hints at both operational risks and personal consequences that will unfold in the coming episodes, making it clear that the mission will test the limits of loyalty, trust, and sacrifice.